Let's talk perimenopause, because as women, we're all going to go through it, but it's important to understand what's actually going on. And if you can anticipate these symptoms ahead of time, it'll help you navigate them as they come. So in perimenopause, statistically, it can last anywhere from, I think average is 4 years. I've had women that it's lasted 7 up to 10 years of a little bit of a hormone roller coaster. So what this means is your ovaries stop being consistent in producing estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. You stop ovulating consistently. Your cycles may change. They may get heavier, they may get lighter, they may be erratic and be one or both at the same time. And eventually, you end up without a cycle, to where your ovaries then stop completely making estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone. Your adrenal glands take over, and you no longer get a cycle. And how we say, okay, you're fully in menopause is when you haven't had a menstrual cycle in a full year. Sometimes I'll see women that will go and skip every few months for a while and then don't have a cycle again for a year, and we can say, okay, you're in menopause. Some women just stop having a normal cycle and it's been normal, and then it stops and then no more. And oftentimes I'll see women that will skip and not have a cycle for 6 or even 9 months, and then they get another one, and then we kind of start the clock again, and eventually they end up in menopause. So it can happen and look different for every woman. But what tends to happen first is that your testosterone and your progesterone drop. So progesterone is a hormone that helps us feel calm. It helps us sleep and manage anxiety better. And when progesterone drops, you can feel a lot moodier and also a lot more anxious, and sleep can start to be a problem. Testosterone can also drop, and testosterone is your feel-good hormone. So that's your hormone that makes you want to get up and do stuff. So it helps with mental clarity. It helps with wanting to exercise. When you exercise, it helps you be able to build the muscle to exercise. So a lot of times what I hear with low testosterone in women is that they're working out and lifting weights, but they can't tell a difference, and they feel a lot more sore afterwards, but no muscle growth. Testosterone also can affect your sleep. So in low testosterone, you can get night sweats, but also waking up often throughout the night. And testosterone, of course, supports libido too. As far as estrogen is concerned, you need to make enough estrogen to have a cycle. So what I see often is that women in perimenopause, they're still getting a cycle, but progesterone's not high enough to support ovulation every cycle, and not high enough to balance out estrogen. So when progesterone drops, you feel your estrogen more, and then your estrogen can then cause you to feel estrogen dominant symptoms. So the estrogen dominance is what you feel typically in PMS, where you feel moody, irritable, snappy, bloated, breast tenderness. That can start to happen more often in perimenopause. And some months you may feel these symptoms, and some months you may feel great. And that's the other roller coaster piece of perimenopause. If you have been burning the candle at both ends for a lot of your life, to where you've had years of stress, not sleeping well, not taking care of yourself, not eating well, then your adrenal function is already starting out lower, and then you hit perimenopause and menopause, and you don't have a lot of adrenal reserve to take over your hormone function when your ovaries stop producing estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Those are the women I see that crash into menopause, where it's a lot harder to navigate because they just didn't have a lot of bandwidth to navigate it in the first place. So the best thing that you can do as you head towards perimenopause and menopause is to focus on foundational health. So make sure you're prioritizing sleep. Make sure that you're eating a nutritious diet. Make sure that you're mitigating your stress levels. Make sure that you're staying hydrated and getting adequate exercise. All of those foundational components are really important and will help you go through perimenopause and menopause a lot more smoothly. As you start to get symptoms, if you get symptoms, then typically my approach is to check labs, figure out where you are, pair that with how you're feeling, And then address these symptoms as holistically and foundationally as possible. So what that means is I'm always going to address the nutrition, hydration, movement, sleep, all of those things first, because that's where we get the most improvement, is if we address foundational health. Sometimes we can add supplements depending on what your hormones are doing to help your hormonal symptoms. Sometimes you're nutrient deficient and your vitamin D or your magnesium is low, so we replace those as we need to. We look at thyroid function, because thyroid and female hormones really play off of each other, and when one is off, the other is not going to function well either. But if we've worked on all of this and we're still getting severe symptoms, then bioidentical hormone therapy may be an option.